Hello everyone. This video is on bronchial asthma, and as always I'm going to aim to tell you everything about it in under 15 minutes. For more such videos, please hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, bronchial asthma is a simple combination of three things. The first being that it is a reversible obstruction of the small airway of the lung. It is due to the hyperresponsiveness of the respiratory tract, and this hyperresponsiveness is a result of a trigger such as an external or an internal allergen or a non-specific stimulus. So in its two components, in the pathological component, it is characterized by chronic airway inflammation. So the pathological changes here include hyperplasia and hypertrophy of the bronchial smooth muscle wall, hyperplasia of the mucous glands, vessels, mucosal edema, and thickening of the basement membrane, as well as inflammatory infiltration. The clinical component due to this is characterized by cough, wheeze, chest tightness, and dyspnea because of the narrowing of the airway and the fluid accumulation. Now, ideally, asthma can be classified into two categories, which are the atopic and the non-atopic, or the early onset and the late onset, or the extrinsic and the intrinsic. So in the early onset asthma that begins in the childhood, in a so-called atopic individual, they produce a significant amount of antibodies in response to a common allergen. So in this picture, the allergen appears to be pollen grain. Usually, this type is associated with a personal or family history of atopy and other allergic disorders like allergic rhinitis and eczema. The other type is non-atopic or the late onset or an intrinsic asthma. These develop later on in the adult life. Okay? Now, the causes of asthma are multifactorial in origin and are thought to be a combination of both genetic and environmental factors. The basic etiopathogenesis being a combination of triggers and the mediators of inflammation that cause airway wall inflammation and bronchial hyperresponsiveness, which leads to the clinical manifestations of the disease. Now, we'll study about these clinical manifestations in a bit, but let's first look at the triggers. Now, the triggers may be allergens, drugs, infections, smoking, anxiety, or stress. The common allergens include indoor antigens, external allergens, and ingested allergens. In the indoor allergens, we have the house dust mite, the cockroach antigen, and the pet-driven antigen. In the external, we have certain gases such as sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, fungal spore, and a very common flower pollen. In the ingested allergens, we have foods such as fish, egg, meat, nuts, strawberry, yeast, wheat, and food additives. In the drugs, we have triggering agents such as beta blockers and aspirin, which are again contraindicated in bronchial asthma. It can be a result of infections, which may be bacterial or viral, and particularly viral infections increase the responsiveness. It may be due to smoking, and smoking actually increases the risk of atopic disease in the child. Asthma can also be aggravated because of anxiety and stress, and acute emotional upset can precipitate an acute attack. In the clinical features, there are three distinct patterns that we see. One, the episodic asthma. The second, severe acute asthma or status asthmaticus. And third, chronic asthma. So episodic asthma, as the name suggests, it occurs in episodes with asymptomatic intervening periods in between. It is characterized by paroxysms of wheeze and dyspnea or breathlessness with a relatively sudden onset. These episodes may be spontaneous or they may be triggered by the agents that we saw, such as allergens, exercise, or viral infections. The attacks vary in duration and intensity and may be mild or severe and may even last for hours, days, or weeks. The next one is severe acute asthma, which is now known as status asthmaticus. Now, this is a life-threatening form of asthma, and it is characterized by severe airway obstruction despite the initial administration of standard acute asthma therapy. So, symptoms such as severe dyspnea, which is breathlessness, and unproductive cough persist despite initial treatment with medication. A sign that you would notice here is the patient sits in an upright position, fixing the shoulder girdle so as to assist the accessory muscles of respiration. Then you would notice severe signs such as sweating, central cyanosis, tachycardia, and pulsus paradoxus. There's a fall in BP with breathing. So this is a life-threatening form of asthma. Finally, we have chronic asthma. Here the symptoms are usually chronic unless controlled by appropriate therapy. Symptoms such as chest tightness, wheeze, and breathlessness occur on exertion, and chronic cough with mucoid sputum is characteristic of it. There might be episodes of spontaneous cough and wheeze during the night, and there will be a morning exacerbation of symptoms. Okay, so a very characteristic thing about this is a morning dip in the PFR. What is a morning dip in the PEF and why is it important to us? A PEF stands for the peak expiratory flow rate, which tells us about how fast a person can exhale. So if you look into this diagram, you see during the mornings, there is a dip in the PEF as well as there is an aggravation of the symptoms. Now this is characteristic of chronic bronchial asthma, and that is why it is also sometimes called nocturnal asthma. It is important to us because it helps us distinguish it from other obstructive diseases of the lungs such as COPD, which is also an obstructive disease of the small airways. With this, we finally come to the last topic, which are the physical signs that are seen in the chest. First of all, you would see that the respiratory rate is increased. So you can see that the person is trying to breathe faster as well as he's trying to utilize the accessory muscles of respiration. The next thing is the breath sounds are vesicular in character with a prolonged expiration phase. There is also prominent wheezing, and this is because of the narrowing of the airways. The other thing are numerous high-pitched expiratory and inspiratory rhonchi, and this sound is due to the fluid-filled obstruction. Finally, there is chronic scattered rhonchi, which is always persisting. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the clinical features that are seen in bronchial asthma. Although I intend to make a separate video on the investigations and the treatment, let me just give you a brief about it. So in the investigations, our main thing is to check for the pulmonary function test, which estimate the degree of the obstruction. Apart from that, we check for eosinophil level, IgE antibody levels, we check for the chest x-ray and other such things. In the treatments, our main goals are management of acute exacerbation as well as to maintain a chronic stable phase. A very important thing that I'll tell you about are the steps that are performed in mild, moderate, and severe asthma, the medications that are used. So with this, we come to the end of the lecture. Let's just quickly revise what we have studied so far. We started by defining asthma. There were 4 key points. It's a reversible obstruction characterized by hyperresponsiveness to an allergen, characterized by chronic airway inflammation, clinically by cough, wheeze, chest tightness, and dyspnea. It was classified into atopic and non-atopic, and its pathogenesis included 2 basic factors, which were genetic and environmental factors. The etiopathogenesis was a result of inflammation and bronchial hyperresponsiveness. We saw the triggering agents. We saw the different distinct patterns in the clinical features, which were episodic asthma, status asthmaticus, and chronic asthma. We saw all the features of them. We saw the important thing, which was a morning dip in the PEF, as well as the physical signs that are seen in the chest. So with this, we come to the end of the video. I hope it helped you in some way possible. And if it did, please make sure to like and subscribe. In the next video, we will continue our discussion on the investigations as well as the treatment. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.